Remember that the Department of Employment and Labor was before was called the Department of Labor, and we know it to be the Department of Blokard. If you still remember, in the olden days, it was for Blokard. So we have since evolved. The legislation have since evolved to the extent that we are now we are moving with times, and we have registered now the former Blokard as the Unemployment Insurance Fund, which is insurance that covers those employees who at some point need to be covered at the time when they are no more in the employment, and it are also for maternity benefits. And I think we have come a long way in that, in terms of the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. At least it caters for those who go for maternity leave, that they can go for maternity leave up to 4 months. And where such is not covered in terms of remuneration by the employer should have taken it upon himself to have registered the employee with the Unemployment Insurance Fund. And that is why then, if you don't get paid, you will then be able to claim from the Unemployment Insurance Fund in the period that you are on that unpaid leave. The Basic Condition of Employment Act also does not allow any employer to force a mother who's just given birth to work in places which are hazardous, and we need to protect such women, and make sure also that these new mothers are not forced to come back to work within the period of 6 months. So they need to be given that period. Including fathers now are catered by legislation which was not there before. At least a father now is given between 5 and 10 days, 10 days to go home and help the mother with the baby. When the mother can't sleep during the night, at least the father can be able during the day also to help the mother to sleep, and he takes responsibility of the child. So this is some of the achievements of the legislation. Over and above that, the national minimum wage, which is an achievement, where domestic workers were given anything that the employers wanted to give them as they wish. And now that we have amended the legislation, I think with regards to QUEDA, to the extent that domestic workers now are covered in the legislation. Therefore, employers who are employing domestic workers should make sure that they register them with the UIF so that they are covered. I think we have learned a bitter lesson from what has happened to Mrs. Mahlangu, who drowned in a swimming pool of an employer, to the extent that she never got anything. And we need to give praises to her daughter, who was very resilient and fought the case up to the Constitutional Court. And we never actually contested the case as the department, because we felt that it was in the interest of all the domestic workers out there. And these are some of the achievements that we have achieved. But over and above that, remember, in the department we have ESSA, where our unemployed young South Africans and everybody else who is unemployed can get into our ESSA system and register themselves and include their CVs in there. And the system will also try to check whether there are employers whose needs meet the requirements as per the CVs provided. So this is some of the things. A lot of people are being employed even in our department through having registered with our ESSA system. But over and above, we've got the PES, the Public Service Employment Services. I think which deals mainly with disabled and vulnerable citizens across all our provinces. We, as a Department of Employment and Labor, we have factories across the country that caters for vulnerable, disabled people across the country, where we employ them and somewhere, somehow, we also use a feeder from the special schools, which actually supply us with such students who come. I know in Eastern Cape we went to see a factory for vulnerable and disabled, completely disabled people, dealing with school furniture, study desks and chairs. And you go to Limpopo factory, I've seen they deal with office furniture, they deal with beautiful office furniture. I think some of us, we can actually buy it, and I'm sure some of this furniture also comes from some of this. So I've seen quite very interesting the work of those who are disabled that we cater for as the Department of Employment and Labour. And I think it is upon us and all other departments, especially in government, that they must now start, and if they have not started, they must start to buy from the factories of our people. Because at least for now, I know for a fact that we are supplying Western Cape hospitals with uniform for either for doctors and for those patients, and we also supply linen to those hospitals and protective clothing to other institutions. So I think for us to keep those disabled people at work, we must be able to continue to buy from their establishments so that their work must continue to be there. So if we don't buy, automatically we have to lay off a lot of them. So, thank you. Our women, it's about time that as women, we need to stand up for what belongs to us. And we need to stand up and go and get it. Because nobody is coming to rescue us. So we have to stand up and smell the coffee. Because as women, and we must support each other as women. The problem with women is that we are the ones who are pulling each other down. So when a woman begins to show potential, we shut them down because we want to be the only ones who shines. So it is high time that we support each other. Even if, for instance, where other opportunities arises for women, where a woman can be a mayor or a minister or anything else, we as women, we are the ones who come with males. Despite the fact that in those meetings where the majority of the people who are supposed to take such decisions are women. So it's high time that women must begin to think about themselves. They must be selfish to think about themselves. We, as women, we have been too kind to others, but cruel to ourselves. Therefore, my message is that this is your chance. This is your time. It might actually be the last chance that you have. We might not have this opportunity coming our way anytime soon, because we are more than 55% as women in this country, and therefore we need to use our muscle to our own benefit and the benefit of the country in general. Because when any woman, by the way, when you train a woman, you see, it's not for the woman, it's for the entire village. And therefore, we need to be able, we are not selfish. It is within us to think about the next door neighbor. That is why I like that passage in the Bible that talks to love your neighbor as you love yourself, and do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. Therefore, we have to take each other on board as women and be each other's keeper.
Thank you very much, dear, for affording us the opportunity to be in conversation with yourself, ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Minister Boitumelo Moloi from the Department of Employment and Labour, working for you.